How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
What you been up to? I haven't seen you in a minute.
Just running around, running the grind, you know?
Yeah, running and grinding?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm always all over the place.
Yeah.
I keep bringing up the kids, but everyone's like, well, he's all about the kids. I'm like, yeah,
Well,
that's all I got.
Ask you how are your wife and kids. I was going to ask you.
Listen, they're good. They keep me busy,
Yeah.
but fun busy because I'm thinking about in the future, like, you know what? When I look back, I'm like, man, I want to go back and do that again. So I was like, you know, let me, what was it? Stop and smell the roses.
Yes.
Actually,
Nice.
your last interview was pretty fun, right? I believe because celebrating Pride Month.
We are celebrating Pride Month. We had the Flag EMS affinity group here.
That's right.
So they're a great affinity group. They're supporting the LGBTQ plus community. They're talking about philanthropy, what they do, some of the events they run. And, we had 3 members here. They all share their story, how they came into the fire department. And, we love that stuff, right?
Yeah, I love hearing the different stories about how we all got here.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to hear this one, especially from Reverend in Kansfield. Her story is amazing.
Yeah.
Go check it out right now. We have members from the FireFlag EMS here with us because it is June. It is Pride Month, and we're going to get into it. I'm going to have you all introduce yourselves starting this way, starting with you.
So my name is Ann Kansfield, and I serve as one of the chaplains here.
My name is Tom Incorvaia. I'm a firefighter. I work in Staten Island.
My name is Brendan Ryan, captain of Station 43.
For our listeners, can you give them a rundown on what FireFlag EMS is, when it got started, what you guys are about?
So first and foremost, we're mostly a support organization. So we try to support our members on the department first, and that can come in the form of being a mentor. That can come in the form of just talking to young people about coming out on the job, which we always tell probies and young people coming out on the job is a very personal decision, and we don't want to push one way or the other, but we just want to be here as mentors and as people who've been through it to kind of help them and guide them. And if they choose not to come out, that's fine too. We also want to protect their privacy. That's one thing we emphasize is we take privacy very seriously.
It's got to be really helpful for the fact that you're a firefighter, you're EMS, you're a chaplain. So there's always someone they can go to, right? Where it's like if you're a firefighter, it's almost sometimes easier to go to another firefighter. If you're an EMT, you can go to an EMS personnel, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just our board alone is myself, and I'm a firefighter with 8 years. Brendan has how long ago?
How long do you have?
How old am I? Is it?
I didn't say that. I would never ask
I've been
that.
with the department for 18 years.
Cool. Now, how old are you so we can figure out?
Oh, you can figure that math out yourself. I'm not going to go there. But the other half too is you're 100% correct. It is nice to know that there's such a peer-based support group here. And one of the unique things about the organization too is we kind of span both, we're centered around sexuality, actually, for lack of a better description. But the nice thing about it, we span past racial divides. We're just there to be supportive, and it's a very inclusive and very welcoming environment. So we do take privacy, like Tom said, very seriously, but there's nothing but welcoming and open arms for people that or need advice. Really just encompasses just everything. Everyone's welcome, which is absolutely wonderful.
How did you actually end up here at the FDNY? Like, what brought you here specifically to the FDNY versus somewhere else?
Go ahead.
I want to hear. I mean, I would say mine is probably a little different, but.
Well, I'd like to hear that.
Oh, I'm so curious.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you're so curious.
I
Okay.
am.
Yeah.
So-
We're all staring at you. You have to go now.
Now I have to.
Pressure's
Right,
on.
exactly.
Yeah,
Okay, so I ended up becoming a stockbroker.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I worked for a couple of different companies, but one of them was in the World Trade Center. So for
Around what time is this?
this would be about 2000, the 23rd floor of Two World Trade, and then I ended up switching jobs earlier in that summer. And so the night before 9/11, I actually quit the job.
Wow.
And I was on my way to a job interview that morning. I was on the phone, like confirming that I had an appointment. I'm going to bet, like in retrospect, it was probably at like 10 o'clock. Because I think I was on the phone a little bit before 9 when the woman who was the receptionist confirming my appointment said, oh my gosh, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. And I turned on my TV, and that's how I found out about it. I felt incredibly useless for a significant amount of time. Like, you don't need a stockbroker. Like, totally.
The world is not looking for stockbrokers right now.
Right,
Yeah.
the world doesn't need a stockbroker. Like, if you would like to feel really useless, being a stockbroker on that week was like painfully useless. And I spent a lot of time just reflecting on, what I wanted to be. I think I was 25 at the time. And so that's when I ended up calling up this professor I knew at the seminary the following week. And I was like, I think I might want to go to seminary. He's like, that's great. We canceled class last week. We had to cancel class. I'll pick you up at 4 p.m. and you can go to your first class. Wow. And it was kind of perfect. There was like I couldn't really push back on anything. I was like, I don't know. I didn't have anything else to do. Mm-hmm. So that's how I ended up like starting back to seminary right away. Wow. And then ended up being called to serve this church in Greenpoint that's been really wonderful and I love very much. But because of 9/11 and because of Michael Judge's death, that's how I knew that we had chaplains. And I was like, that's my dream job. That's what I really want.
Out of high school, I was fortunate enough I got into college and actually I joined Campus Volunteer EMS. And I was actually able to get my EMT certification for free. All I had to do was volunteer on campus. So, which was fantastic. I got a free education on top of the education that I was getting. And the main motivating factor for me actually was I've always been geared and I really just want to help people. With that being said, when I was in college, it was close to when actually 9/11 happened, and that kind of solidified like I wanted to do more. I was already an EMT. I was trying to volunteer locally, and I pretty much went online and signed up that day. And then close to when I was graduating was when they were calling me up, and it was just kind of like a whirlwind. I was actually surprised how quickly everything went. And then all of a sudden I'm working in Brooklyn in Crown Heights, and I'm directly helping so many people. It's wonderful. My career has been very blessed, and I'm very fortunate.
I had a lot of different jobs after college. I started taking a lot of the city tests, and I went straight into FDNY, their application process, which honestly was not bad at all. It was actually a breeze.
Very straightforward.
Yeah, very straightforward. Okay. And so I never looked back. I've been at my firehouse now for my whole career. I get along great with my guys. I didn't come out right away. I wasn't sure. Like I said, that's a very personal process, and especially coming out in the firehouse or the EMS station. So for me, I wasn't sure I wanted to do that right away. What was important for me was to prove myself in the firehouse on the job, and to establish who I was to the guys I work with before I came out to them. And eventually I came out to a couple of guys that I was really close with, and they just over time encouraged me to just come out to everyone. Just, it's not as big of a deal as you think it's going to be. And I wanted to break the ice in a way that made everyone laugh and made them not feel uncomfortable. So I brought in a cake that said, for those who don't know, coming to the firehouse with a cake or the EMS station with something in your hands it's a big tradition. It's every probie does it. So I came in with a huge ice cream cake that said, "I'm here, I'm queer, get used to it." That ice cream cake was gone, and by the next day it was. What I did was I printed out a picture of myself. And like a little rainbow that
says... You didn't want anyone else to you didn't want anybody to think that somebody else had brought in the cake.
Right, no, but I wanted to know.
They wanted to know who sponsored that cake.
Right. That was pretty impressive.
Thank you. It's interesting to see how times really do change, right? Mm-hmm. They mentioned like how it was when they first got on, and some of that fear, right? And the fact that there's that community out there for them, it's amazing. It's so good to see. And for anybody listening, they just have to go to joinfdny.com, get some more information if that's stuff they're interested in. But it's an amazing interview. I was thrilled to do it.
And it's all about the step of support, right? It's just letting you know that FD does have your back, and whatever you have or whatever you're going through, there are individuals that have similar stories with you that you'll find a commonality with.
Yeah, there's always a place for you in the FDNY, right?
Absolutely, there's a place for everyone. Just like in one of my previous interviews was with Captain Timmy Smith and Lieutenant Jonathan Logan.
That's right.
Right, Logan, diversity advocate, or as he likes to call it, he's the highest paid customer service rep for FD. And let me tell you, man, they're impressive. I could see why they're in charge. Logan in charge, diversity advocate. How Captain Smith was running like the block parties and stuff.
Right.
Like it was very impressive. Right. So you know what? Let's check it out. We got two special guests today. My former coach, Captain Timmy Smith.
My man.
How you doing? And of course, my brother from the 5-0, Jonathan Logan. How you doing?
Absolutely.
Listen, we're going to start with stories, man. 03, he was my coach, led FDNY to our first national championship versus LAPD.
Yes, indeed.
And it was close. It wasn't even a gimme. It was a fight from the first quarter.
It boiled down to the last minute,
Yeah.
Big catch, and then we finally got a stop on defense. Well, the guy missed the 40-yard field goal.
Right. It was a missed field goal, but it was not. I was standing back there. I was like, wow, this would have been a great game for me if as long as we win. And then, of course, rocking out with Logan from day one from the 5-0 battalion, man.
Doing it.
You was a force of nature from day one.
I was a little confident, maybe just a little bit.
But you was always putting in the work.
Yeah,
There was times I drove by you. I forget where it was. It was pouring rain outside. And I see this figure jogging in the rain. And I'm like, who's that? And I passed him. I was like, hold on. And I backed my truck up. I'm like, oh, you good? He's like, you know what you said? You remember what you said?
You
was like, no, you was like, got to make that next room, man. Got to make that back room. Got to make that back room. I'm like, okay.
That's right.
Rolled the window back up. I drove off.
Yeah, we were having fun. It was good to be your neighbor. Yeah, we had a lot of fun in Southeast Queens.
No, we definitely did. We definitely did. So we're all fathers here, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
100%.
Knowing each other a lot. How many you have?
I got three,
right?
16 and 13 and 8. Well, I'm like, sometimes I feel like I'm the professional Uber driver. I'm all over the place. Last weekend I was at a track meet and I had a musical thing.
Yeah.
I'm thankful because that's part of one of the value points to this job is that, you could be home with your family a lot of the times. It's very easy, the schedule, the chart allows you to be home. I think a lot of people miss that.
Yeah.
A lot of PTA means I'm the only male there. I'm the only, so this is why also I'm a part of a lot of programs, but because the job offers it. Listen, I feel like I'm a father for the first time now. I got a 22-year-old, 16,
Holy cow.
and 13. Well, no, 17. Tristan just had a birthday. Just came from upstate because he made states in 400-meter hurdles. And then Taji, he's all over the place. I got him, training for EMS. And then Tori is just Miss Athletics. Mm-hmm. She's track and field. She's basketball. 2 different basketball teams. Nice. Boy, you got some kids also doing some good things in sports, right?
I got the wide spectrum. I got the 4 grandkids from my oldest son. I got my second son. Oldest son is 41, be 42. My second son is 37. He's single. He's traveling and seeing the world. My daughter is 23. She just came back from NCAA. She's a high hurdler in college, and she's unbelievable.
Nice.
And my youngest son is 21, and he's a sprinter in college. So I got the wide spectrum. 2 older boys were all football players, football scholarships. The younger son, he played football but took a track scholarship instead. So,
okay.
This job affords you the opportunity to see a lot of things, and seeing your kids perform at athletic events.
Let me tell you, I owe this job the lifestyle that I'm living and the opportunity I'm there for, the daily portion of the kids. It's 100%. Not even just the games. Yeah. I'm there for practices and certain conversations you have to have.
Yeah. I think, I'm sorry. Yeah. I think that's the role of a father. Is to really give your kids the full scope. Right, not just what they see in their lane, but
not
for example,
sugar and lollipop stuff. You got to give them the real.
You got to give them the real thing. Teach them history. As far as Juneteenth is concerned, right? You teach them what all that is, right? I didn't really grow up celebrating Juneteenth,
right?
But in order for you to talk about Juneteenth, you got to talk about the Emancipation Proclamation, 1863. On January 1st. But many people, down in Texas, They didn't know anything about.
They didn't know they were free.
They didn't even know they were free. So
years going by,
Union soldiers came in, some of them which were black, right? Came in and started reading this proclamation and setting people free, and they were like, "Wow, we're free." And so that's a huge deal.
Oh, free with an asterisk.
You're free with an asterisk, right? But
you get no land, no property, other individual. But we'll go down that rabbit hole.
No, that's a rabbit hole to really discuss.
But you got to have that conversation.
You got to have that conversation with your kids. You have to be able to bring them to those realities so they can understand where to go. Where do we come from? How do we get to this point? And once you know that, then you know the road going forward on where you're going to go. As a father, that's what we got to do. That's part of the responsibility. In the firehouse, as a leader, you're setting the tone, but also at home, also as a father, you got to really give them the full scope. And if you're not willing to have those tough conversations, as we call it, courageous conversations, you're not really giving them what you really need to be
It's
giving
so
them
thing.
to be
It's
equipped.
so funny, as you say, the role in the household. I like, so whenever my wife wants to pull me back, she'll be like, "All right, Captain Brown." I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm like, all right, that means I'm getting a little too aggressive with
the
it.
chief is telling
yeah,
Captain
oh
Brown.
yeah, just the chief, the commissioner, the chief. Are you kidding me?
Well,
What
I think one of the major things is about fatherhood, and
In the
it's
FD.
my testimony is that it's not just being a father to your own children; it's about being a father to other people's children, which is why I coach.
Yeah.
And this job has provided me with an opportunity to do what I really love and is passionate about, and which is to help young men navigate the process of becoming men. And I do that through football. And it just so happens that I happen to be a captain in the fire department, where I get to help these young men that come on this job navigate that process too. So it's twofold. So it's a beautiful thing. I just remember being a young kid and an athlete and being at games, and my parents were never there.
Yeah.
Because my father had to work.
They had
My
to
mother
work.
had to
Same
do what she
here.
had to do.
Yeah.
So you're looking in the stands, you don't see anybody. And I always said to myself, when I got older and I had children, I never want them to look up and not see me. And I go out, I watch my daughter run track. The first thing she does, she's looking to see me.
100%.
Where you at, Dad?
We're taking the attendance.
What do you think? My son, same thing with football. Dad, what do you think on that play? Did you see? They're looking.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're looking for you.
Yeah.
And this job afforded me with an opportunity to be there for these type of things. And I'm very, very blessed.
Listen, the incredible feeling of being an FDNY dad.
Yeah.
There's no if I can make it, it's how I can make it. There's always so many different avenues to be there, to be present.
And that was a really good interview.
I told you it was a pretty impressive interview, right?
Impressive is definitely the word, because you made it 5 seconds before mentioning your family again.
Well, you can see all fathers, it's always
Yes,
about the kids
yes.
and the wife and the household and keeping that balance, because if the home is not balanced, there's
Right.
no way we're able to do
No,
anything.
you got to
like
have that support structure.
Yeah, even when we were talking to Captain Cefoli, he was doing the same thing. Like, he started off like, all right, I got 4 kids, so I had to almost stop the whole interview. I was like, really?
Yeah.
Still with a full head of hair. I'm a little jealous.
We're doing great.
Yeah, we're doing very well. You know what? Let's check out the interview with Captain Cefoli.
We all know that, it's not easy to get up and do stuff early. It's not sometimes fun. It's not really what you want to do, whatever. But I always tell them it's not really about what you want. It's about what you need to do.
So there's a lot of science behind it. It's not just like, okay, they're doing very well with hands-on, or they're just a good runner, or just academics. There's a certain percentage for each, right? You can't just be excelling in one. You actually
Right.
have to be good in every area.
Well, that's the nature of our job, right? We have to have, the book smarts. We have to know what's going on in that aspect. We have to have the hands-on skills. And then obviously the physical conditioning, the functional type of condition that we do.
Right.
And it all kind of overlaps in their evolutions and in job function. So when you're dealing with, the unknown every time the tones go off, you have to kind of train in a lot of different areas to bring yourself up to that capacity. Consistent efforts will yield the results they're looking for. Nothing's going to happen overnight.
Right.
And to get yourself ready for what the academy itself is, you have to be at a pretty high level physically for the demands of everyday life there.
See what I'm talking about with Cefoli? Like the passion that he has, and obviously with the kids and stuff. But he's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine. But he's preparing these young candidates to be better, and you can see why FDNY trusts him to be a major part of that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have that stuff, right? I mean, look at all the stuff that we had going on for these most recent podcasts. It's always about your fitness, your personal well-being, your mental well-being, and then just this family aspect that we have here in the FDNY. And
Right.
put it all together, man. It's
Because
perfect.
what we're asking of you is is pretty demanding.
Yeah.
This is why the hiring process is so meticulous.
But then you get to inherit this family too. So.
Absolutely. It's no one we spoke to said they regret it. Not one person.
No.
Listen, it's great seeing you again, man.
Always good seeing you, man.
Listen, I'll see you soon, okay?
We'll do it next time.